Yes, girls, I asked you to go through this research paper, which is a post-colonial discourse in the God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. Okay. This paper thoroughly discuss the post-colonial elements that are there in the God of Small Things. Okay. We have already discussed the post-colonial elements which are there in the story, but I have also sent you this for a good understanding, for a more detailed understanding of post-colonial elements. So can someone please tell me what did you understand from this paper? I need at least 2-3 responses from your class. Yes, girls, please. I want you to be active. I need active participation in the class. Yes, Fatima. Have you gone through this article?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, can you please tell me what did you understand from this?
Ma'am, first of all, in which the writer describes about the post-colonial discourse that refers to the literature, culture, and society,
Very
which
good.
deals with the effect of colonial rule.
Okay,
That when a country is colonized, it experiences deep changes in culture, language, identity,
very
even
good.
after the colonizers leave.
Very good.
So these changes continue to affect the people very harshly and brutally. So the different things the post-colonial literature focus on are the simple that how people are treated in this in the society, that how the native people are treated. Are they treated equally, or they treated unequally, or they consider them as their uh,
Slaves.
workers or
Okay,
slaves?
okay.
So how colonial rule changed to local traditions, and how people resist or these colonial influences. So these some different things the writer describes in post-colonial discourse, and it also describes this research paper. It also describes it talks about the novel, that how novel shows different things. That the God of Small Things, the impact of colonialism in society, that
Okay, very good.
British rule how influenced Indian society, introducing their own values, Western values, and introducing their own language, and give punishment to those who speaks their native language.
Very
So
good.
it also talks about their impact on colonialism. They on also some kind of literature that are affected by the colonialism, that people wrote about the colonizers, not about the colonized people.
Very good. Very good.
They
Excellent.
and
Yes,
also talks about the caste system and social inequality, that how people are treated unequally. The rich people are treated more efficiently and they have all the powers, but poor people are considered as slaves.
okay, very good.
And
Anyone else from the
also,
class? Thank you. Thank you, beta. Thank you, Fatma. Anyone
thank you.
else from the class? Okay, can someone please tell me a little summary of the novel, The God of Small Things? Okay, let's summarize the God of Small Things a little, and then we will discuss the post-colonial elements in the novel. And today we will be done with the novel, and in our next class, we'll start another novel, right? I'll just send you the other novel, and then we'll start with another book, probably a novel or some poetry or a short story. Fine? Yes, girls. So we have already started God of Small Things, and we are almost done with 7-8 chapters up till now. Okay. So God of Small Things is written by an Indian writer, Arundhati Roy. We know that. And I told you this is the first novel which is written by her. And then probably in 2018, she has written her second novel. So she is a social activist, not only novelist, she is also a social activist. And through her writings, she is raising the issue of the colonized people. Okay. We know that now this part of the world, which is Indian subcontinent, it is no more colonized. But we also know, and the writer has shown that neo-colonialism is still going on. It's been more than a century now, probably like 70, 75 years, not a century, 70, 75 years that these English people have left the region. but we still find the effects they are going on. Okay, so it has like affected the whole generation, the first generation that was in contact with the colonizers, and now the second generation that is reflected in the characters of Esta and Rahil and the other child characters in the novel. Okay, we find that how do they suffer, even though they are not in direct contact with the colonizers, right? So it is the story about Esta and Rail. They are twins, okay? And their mother Amu. And I also told you that what is the story behind Amu's marriage, that she was into an abusive marriage and then she left. And that there too we find the aspects of colonialism, that how her Hindu husband wants her to serve his English boss to maintain his job. Okay, so he wanted to his wife to spend a night with him so that he will get the husband will get the benefits. So this is how it caused their relation. It just affected their relation, and it resulted in a divorce. Okay, and then Amu has left the place with Esta and Rahil, and she comes back to Kerala. And in Kerala, in Ayaminam, we find that there is the family of Papaji. Okay, Papaji, and other representative of Englishness. He's all the time, even in the severe heat, he is dressed like the English people in three-piece dress. Okay, and then we have Mamachi. Mamachi is very much educated. She owns her own factory, um, and she is very good at playing music like violin and piano. But she's also another example of domestic violence. And then we have another character that is Baby Kuchama. Okay. Again, we come to know that Baby Kuchama's life is also a deprived life because she is dejected in love. Okay, I have narrated the story of that father with whom she was in love, and her love is a dejected type of love, and she is the main source of suffering for the kids because she tortures the kids very much to be like English people. Okay, she punishes them to read English, to write English, to behave English. Okay, and then we have another character that is Cheku. He is their uncle, Amu's brother. Okay. And we also come to know about Sophie Mall and Marguerite. And we have already discussed the first chapter in which Sophie Mall dies. And then there is the funeral, the Christian funeral ceremony. Okay. So from all these things, we come to know that how this whole society is a hybrid society. Okay, because we find the amalgamation of both these culture, the English culture and the native culture. Okay, and we find that each and every character is suffering from identity crisis. Okay, let's suppose if we take the character of Papachi. If we take the character of Papachi, we find him a hybrid character. He does have the native things in his personality, like the native societies are patriarchal societies. We know that very much, and so much so patriarchal that he is involved in domestic violence. He beats every day. He beats his wife badly, and the wife is not a normal lady. She is highly educated. She owns a factory. It's her own factory. She's very good at playing music. So she is a very different kind of character. She stands high in the society, but but still her husband, he beats her. Okay, so this is something very much native in the character of Papaji. But then on the other hand, when we find him, he's trying to be like the English people. He's wearing the dress he wears is all like English. He speaks English all the time. So he is a complete English representative, a representative of Englishness in the society. And then we have another character who is also suffering from identity crisis. That is the character of Cheku. Now, if we critically analyze Cheku's character, he very much admires Marguerite for the reason that she is different from the native lady. because she is not depending on him as a husband. She is not like she is self-sufficient. She's doing each and everything by her own. So these are the things which are very much appreciated by Cheku. But then this is also a problem for Cheku, that she cannot do his work, she cannot take care of him. So on one hand, he wants a wife who is very much European, okay? But on the other hand, he wants the native thing as well. So this is an identity crisis which is very much present in his character. Then on the other hand, we find Rahil and Esther. So do you think that Rahil and Esther are also suffering from hybrid identity crisis? Can someone please just talk about this? Anyone from the class, girls?
यस मैम, जो बेबी कुचामा है वो उनको जो है बिल्कुल इंग्लिश पीपल की तरह बनाना चाह रही है, उनके एक्सेंट पे
Okay.
फोकस करती है और इस तरह जो है वो बच्चे भी आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस का शिकार है।
What type of identity crisis can you discuss? Like how?
मैम वो जो है अपनी मतलब वो अपना जो उनकी नेटिव लैंग्वेज है ना, वो उस पर ज़्यादा फोकस नहीं कर सक रहे, वो अपने जिस तरह वो लोग हैं उस पर ज़्यादा फोकस नहीं कर सक रहे। इंस्टेड वो जो है इंग्लिशनेस पे ज़्यादा फोकस कर रहे हैं बेबी कुचामा की वजह से, तो इस वजह से जो है वो आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस का शिकार है।
Very good, very good. So there is an identity crisis because they are forced to adopt the English language, okay? And this thing is also discussed in this paper, okay? We will just read the lines now, where their character is discussed and the identity crisis in their character is discussed, that how they are forced to speak English language, to behave English language, okay? And one thing which is very much evident is that if you remember that in our last class, we discussed that when Sophie Mall comes on the airport, baby Kuchama calls her Ariel. You are as beautiful as Ariel. And then she asks her that, do you know what Ariel is? And then she gives the reference of different English books like Tempest, Rape of the Lock, okay? That Ariel is a character in these books, right? But when she calls Sophie Mall as Ariel, someone who is beautiful, who is clean, who is neat and white. On the other hand, she thinks and she also says that Esna and Rahil, uh, they are not like Sophie Mall, okay? They are opposite of Sophie Mall. So if Sophie Mall is neat, clean, and beautiful, if they are opposite to Sophie Mall, so they are ugly, they are devilish, okay, and they are dirty. So the only thing is because Sophie Mall is from England and Rahil and Esther are not. So anything that belongs to the culture or to the country or to the region of the colonizer, even the native himself, this is the force of hegemony, okay? This is where hegemony comes. Now, if baby Kuchama is thinking so, there is no one there to make her think so. This thought is inculcated in the mind of native, that native himself feels inferior, okay? And he wants to be like the superior. And according to the native, the definition of superior is the European, okay? So probably you have also read Toni Morrison. Have you done Toni Morrison's Bluest Eye in any of your course? The Bluest Eye. Have you done African literature?
नो
American,
मैम।
Afro-American literature.
नो मैम।
Okay. Toni Morrison, just to relate with this, okay, that how the native is feeling inferior and tries to adopt all the ways of the English colonizers, okay. I just want to give you an example of Toni Morrison. Toni Morrison is an African-American writer, okay. You know that Africans have this black color. So with their colonialism, it is not only that they are colonized, they are black. So racism is also involved in that, right? So Toni Morrison has written a novel that is titled The Bluest Eye. In Bluest Eye, the protagonist, she writes the story of a husband and wife, okay? The wife, she is a babysitter of an English lady, okay? Yeah, an English baby, okay? And she is also, she has conceived and she is expecting a girl, baby girl. And she wants her girl to be like the baby she's babysitting. She wants her own daughter to be like the same girl, having blue eyes. That is why the title is The Bluest Eye, okay? So when she gives birth, her daughter is just like her. She's black in color with no blue eyes. Now the mother starts hating her daughter. Imagine this thing, like how on the face of earth can a mother hate her own child just because she is black in color and she is not having blue eyes? So by writing this type of stuff, Toni Morrison or any other writer, it is a counter discourse, girls. Remember, this is a counter discourse through which our writers want to tell that how their identity crisis, the identity crisis of the native is so severe that they start hating themselves. Hating her own daughter means she hates herself too. Okay, so she doesn't want her daughter to go in the society and suffer the same things that she has suffered. Okay, so this is how the writers show that um, hegemony works and the native themselves want to be like the white people. So by the end of this novel, what happens that one day the daughter, she turns 7, okay? She's just 7 years old. One day the father comes back home and he is bullied by the English people for his black color. So he is so irritated, so angry that in that anger, he rapes his own 7 years old daughter, okay, just to take out his anger, okay, for no other reason, just in a revenge of the English people, he makes his own daughter a victim. So this is how the native is writing back to the empire, okay? This is a counter discourse that the native is telling that this is, look what you have done to us. By colonizing us, look what you have done to our personalities, what type of identity crisis we are going through. So that thing is very much evident in the character of baby Kuchama as well. She is not proud of herself. So whatever she finds good in her personality is that Englishness. She's not proud of her being the native one. She's not good, she doesn't feel goods of the things which are native in her. And so she wants to inculcate all the English things in those two kids, Rail and Hesta. So they look good like Sophie Maud. And not because they are not English, she kind of hates them, okay? She dislikes them. So Sophie Mall is a kind of goddess among them all. So this is the identity crisis we find in Baby Kuchama, we find in Rahil, Esther, we find in Cheku, we find in Papachi, okay? But one thing that we see that Amu, she is not very much into these things, okay? Though she wants her kids to speak English, to be clean, and remember one thing, when they talk about cleanliness, it means whiteness, okay? So the meaning of cleanliness in the native society was to be white. So this is again hegemony that through their own consent, they want to be like the white people, and white is a symbol of cleanliness for them. Okay, now I just, from this paper, I want you to just go to these lines when Cheku tells these two kids that Papa Chi is an Anglophile. Okay. He says that Papa Chi is an Anglophile and I am also an Anglophile. You and Rahil, you are also Anglophile. And then he gives the meaning of the word Anglophile, the person and individual who is affected by the Englishness. Okay. Who is neither native nor English now. Now, one thing which is very much important is that you see that we find these all native characters, they are suffering and struggling to be like the white people, to speak white language, okay, the English language, which is the English language, to be educated like them, like we find Cheku, Baby Kuchama, they have taken their education from abroad, okay? And from their dress code, like we find in Papachi. Now they try to, even their religion, okay? Now some of them are Christians, the rest are Hindus. Now when they have adopted the main things, that is education, English, language, education, religion, okay, the way of life. They have adopted all main things. But still the question arises that is the English going to accept them as their equal or not? Now, this is the main question. After doing all these things, are the English going to accept them as their equal or not? Can someone please answer this question?
No, ma'am.
Okay, do you have any such example of this in the novel?
मैम एग्जाम्पल तो नहीं है, लेकिन ये है कि वो मतलब ये लोग जितना भी उनकी तरह बन जाए, उनका कल्चर फॉलो कर लें, उनकी लैंग्वेज को जो है बोलना स्टार्ट कर दें, लेकिन उसके बावजूद वो जो है वो एक नेटिव ही समझेंगे, वो कभी भी इनको अपने बराबर की जगह नहीं देंगे.
That's very good. Okay. And the example from the novel is Cheku and his wife Marguerite. Okay. Marguerite, she couldn't consider him as good as like Marguerite is not in among those people who have made this policy. She is not among those people who are the policy makers. She is just a normal layman character from the English society, but even she is not, she couldn't maintain her relationship or her marriage with Cheku because of his native characteristics. In other words, she couldn't even consider him her equal. Okay, so she left him. It was Marguerite who has left Cheku. Okay, this is one thing. And secondly, for this, I just want to give you a reference from Chinua Achebe, and we'll do that essay as well. Please turn off your microphones, please. Girls, please. Oh, so Chinua Achebe has written an essay. Please put your microphones on mute. I'm getting disturbed, girls. किसका है बेटा? Ask her to turn it off.
Yasmin.
Yasmin. Yasmin, please turn off your phone. Microphone. I don't know from where I can mute her. Please, girl, someone please text her. Someone from the class, please text her. Okay, so I was talking about Chinua Achebe. He has written an essay in which he talks about this question, that how if the native is trying to be like the white man by adopting each and everything that the white man is having, but even then the white man is not going to accept him. Okay, and for that he gives an example of Pastor John. Pastor John is a character. Okay, he tried his level best to be like them. Okay, but by the end they called him a man of the bush, a man of the jungle. Okay, that they say that it is just a mask which the native is wearing. Okay, and whenever the time comes, he can just throw away the mask and be the same wild person. This is what the colonizers think, and this is the struggle, and this is the question. It is not in discussion. Okay? It is raised by all the critics that that native is not going to be accepted by them. This voice is disturbing me a lot. Please text her. Girls, someone of you, please text her. Text her.
Send कर लिए.
Turn off her microphone.
मैम वो फोन नहीं उठा रही हैं.
Okay, fine. I am not finding the command to put the class on mute. Let me check. All of you must take care of your phone, right? Always put your phone on microphone on mute. I cannot even speak. I don't understand them. It's so loud. Now she's disturbing the whole class.
मैम रिमूव कर दे.
अभी तो मुझे option, I cannot see the option. Look, I'm trying to just check.
मैम मैं उनको कॉल भी करी हूँ, वो कॉल भी नहीं उठा रही हैं.
ये बेटा. Okay, this we are just left with maybe 8 minutes, and after that, please rejoin. Okay. Okay, one thing more, we have already discussed the identity crisis. I told you that there is identity crisis in native character. And when we talk about identity crisis in the native character, we talk about how hybridity, okay? And there is one other concept that we have not yet talked about. It is a postcolonial concept, which is given by, the concept is discussed by Homi Bhabha, and it is called third space, okay? Third space is a step ahead than hybridity. Okay, it is a state of suffering where the native is neither hybrid, okay, nor native. He is in a different space, okay, which is called third space, in which he cannot either relate with the English or whatever the culture is from the dominating culture, not from the suppressed culture, which is in this scenario, the native culture, right? So that is the third space. So we find that some of our characters in this novel, this question I'm raising from you, you are going to tell me that which character in this novel is in third space. We do find many characters who are hybrid. Almost all characters, like 99% of characters are hybrid characters. But which character is in the third space that you are going to tell me? So I was telling you that when we talk about identity crisis, we talk about hybridity and we talk about the third space. Okay, is this clear? Now there are some other elements which are discussed in this paper about colonialism. Okay, and this is a very good point here. I'm going to read from this that when Marguerite, when she was coming to India to visit, to bring Sophie Mall to her father, okay, Cheku. So many of her friends, they warned her that you are going to the heart of darkness. You are going to a place which is heart of darkness, and anything can happen to you. Like the local place for the colonizers is a place which is like the meaning of the local place according to them was something dark, something devilish, something bad. Okay, so they told her anything can happen with you, to you, and Marguerite just did not listen to them, and we find that she lost her daughter here in the native land. So I'm just reading from here. It says, upon coming to India, Sophie Mall is not aware of the disaster waiting for her. One day, she is out with her Indian cousins Esther and Rahil on the mysterious river in Aiminam. She suddenly drowns, which makes the family, especially Marguerite, grieved. The catastrophic event occurs even if English Marguerite, traveling in the heart of darkness, has been acknowledged by her friends to take everything and to be prepared on the grounds of the fact that anything can happen to anyone in India. So, these things are again, this discourse is making an opinion that the native land is associated with all the negative things. Anything bad can happen in the native land. And why Heart of Darkness? You have done the modern novel, right? You have done the Heart of Darkness. What does Marlowe says? Why is Congo the heart of darkness? What does Joseph Conrad wants to say by the word heart of darkness? Remember, girls, heart of darkness
मैम उस,
is
मैम उसका
comes
ये
under
मतलब
the
है कि वो
category
प्लेस उनका
of.
हो के भी उनका नहीं है।
जी बेटा।
इसका ये मतलब है हार्ट ऑफ डार्कनेस का कि वो प्लेस उनका हो के भी उनका नहीं है। उन पे हर तरह के जो है वो टॉर्चर भी हुए हैं, वो हर तरह की सफरिंग में भी थे, जो अफ्रीकन्स थे।
ओके।
और उनको उनकी कलर पे जो है वो जज किया जाता था और उसी की बेसिस पे उनको इन्फीरियर भी समझा जाता था।
Yes, in fact, because of their inferiority, why Conrad has titled Congo as heart of darkness. It is the heart of, like, darkness is something dark, black. Heart of darkness means the center of darkness. Okay. The point where there is, like, you cannot find more darkness on any part of the world other than this place. So Conrad has titled Africa, which is a native land, which is a colony, as heart of darkness. So is the case with the European friends of Margaret. They are titling India as a heart of darkness. Okay. So this is the colonial discourse. Girls, remember heart of darkness whenever you are talking about, since you are doing post-colonial literature, whenever you talk about colonial discourse, colonial heart of darkness is a colonial discourse which is making known of the world that the natives are dark, natives are wild, natives are uncivilized. This type of colonial discourse is defining a native as someone who is inferior and who needs to be tamed and trained. Is it clear? So discourse which is written in answer to that colonial discourse is counter discourse. Okay, so you have read The Heart of Darkness, which is a very good example of colonial discourse. I hope this point is clear to you. Okay, let's move ahead. So according to Margaret's friends, India is the heart of darkness. It is such a black, bad and wild place that anything can happen to her. So, and then we find that, yes, of course, it has happened to her, that something bad has really happened to her, that she has just lost her daughter. And how did she find her daughter? Was her green wheat and river grime were woven into her beautiful red-brown hair of her daughter, and her child's eyelids were nibbled at by fish. This was the condition of Sophie Mall when she was found dead. Okay. So like the native, this is again another symbol. Okay. What is the symbol? The writer truly wants to show that if the colonizer thinks that the native land is a piece of cake for them, it is no more a piece of cake for them. They can also be drowned in the wildness of the colonial space. Okay. So in other words, Arundhati Roy is kind of challenging the colonizers or the Europeans that native land can eat you, can swallow you, you can be drowned into native land. Okay. So this is how the force of nature is working in the native land, that it has not accepted answer. Okay, so this is a symbol here.
मैम काइंडली दोबारा समझाना।
Beta, simply see our writer Arundhati Roy, she simply wants to tell you that native land, do not consider native land something light, okay? Because of your cruelty, what you have done with the land and native people. With your cruelty, now the land, the nature itself is going to talk back to you to retaliate. Okay? And that is in the form of Sophie Mall, who is drawn. So of nature symbolically, which has answered the colonizer. Okay, is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.